Camera's on. What is happening? Let's put this in. There we go. Yay. All right. Well, I checked. I didn't see if anyone else was going. Well, Bruce is still going. I watched his stuff earlier. Spent a couple hours watching the Bruce game. It's a good time. Especially if you're like cleaning or something around the house. Put the game on and listen to them do their thing. Send Bruce some incredibly flirty song lyrics just to let him know. Because, you know, sometimes you gotta let him know, right? Just is what it is. Then right now I'm fixing something. Kinda. I'm actually not fixing anything. I'm just gluing it together. Because the thing that I've been working on over here is a monumental pain in the ass. Let's open up chat so that I'm not just sitting here. Happy Saturday to you, Dan. How you doing, homie? Let me see. I didn't put this on my live stream link in Discord. I probably should do that. Paste, okay. So, golden brown, texture like sun, lays me down when she runs, never a frown. Well, either a song about a hot woman with golden brown hair or heroin. I've heard both. So there we go. DM James putting up a live stream, putting the message out. Probably should contact my brother since, you know, he actually called me the other day and was like, I haven't seen you in forever. I'm like, you know. Maybe. Right now I'm gluing this spindly, tiny little AC5 onto the back of a goofy ad looking Marauder. I mean, of course, when I got this thing, I don't know, 40 years ago almost, I remember thinking this was like the best thing of all time, you know. I remember thinking how awesome this thing was. Let's see. This is a Ralph Partha 1986. So literally I got this 39 years ago. The barrel's bent and I'm afraid to mess with it. But here you go, guys. This is the original. This is lead, so I probably should not be handling it or primer it, do something with it. This is an original lead Marauder. With that flimsy, super soft freaking. This arm right here moves around a little bit because I had to pin it on. So it actually still, I mean, the pinning is holding it, but everything else is. So, yeah, I need to primer that guy before it gets lead rot. I've got about a couple hundred of the old Valtech figures. Sugar-free RC Cola. Now, let's go do this. And let's go do this. Echo and the Bunny Man. Oh, Hungar's on right now. That is a cool new shirt. I think. He's my brother. Freaking well, my wife offered to cook dinner when we go to my mom's for Mother's Day, and of course my pops was like, beef stroganoff. So beef stroganoff. I can't really complain. I am a fan of beef stroganoff. So anyway, I have been clearing things out. This is something that's odd. Why is this odd? Because I have like 5 of them, and yet at some point in the last couple weeks, I guess I must have been, I don't know, sleep ordering shit off a drive-through RPG or something. I apparently ordered another one, and I have originals. So yeah, this thing showed up, and I'm just like, I don't even remember ordering that thing, man. So I've got my big tackle box craft thing here that I cleared out, and I'm organizing some of my larger that's laid right down here. And some of the larger miniatures and terrain pieces that I use often are going to end up going in there, organizing it out. Like this guy right here. This is like a Kraken type Conan monster. Comes with like a ton of tentacles and stuff. Again, guys, it is my constant quest to one day have my desk actually cleared off so that, it's not just completely freaking. Look at all these tentacles this guy comes with. He's got this big one too. Rah! I think though, before I put these in the box for good, since they're in my hand, I'm going to paint the bases an actual watery color instead of right now the bases are purple. That makes not a whole lot of sense. So good news is I've been getting a lot of positive feedback on the Hyperborea thing. And the thing is, it's like I need to go back and like watch the old geek when he discusses these modules so that I can actually get caught up with the module a little bit better before I start going in and telling how you can change it. Because the old geek's whole review of drilling his review of like all those old school TSR modules was really good stuff. I liked it a lot. And I mean, to this day, it would be a suggestion to pretty much anyone, really. And then the other thing I want to do, I'm not sure exactly how to go about it, is I need to get Seth Gorkowski to look at Hyperborea. And mainly because dude plays D&D, like AD&D second edition, I think. And he plays a lot of Lovecraft stuff, Call of Cthulhu. So I'm wondering, like, if his group wouldn't just absolutely love the Hyperborea, since obviously they're interested in both sides of that, that coin, the fantastical fantasy, whatever, plus the, there we go, plus the weird Cthulhu stuff. And he runs his Cthulhu games a lot of times, as you should, as investigations. There's no reason you couldn't run a Hyperborea game exactly that way, except with a bit more of a heroic bent to it, since hopefully the players might actually survive whatever they're investigating. Like the first adventure I ever ran, Rats in the Walls, that is primarily an investigative adventure. You know, it's like shit's going on, and the players got to go and they got to talk to different people and try to figure out why it's going on and why things are the way they are. And then, go down and basically, yeah, you got to do investigations, and that's cool. And then for the D&D heads, of course, there's the combats here and there to keep you, interested. But now the next adventure I'm thinking about doing, and I'll probably do it tonight and then have it released tomorrow, is oh, there goes my small but fierce dog, small but vicious dog. Um, I'm kind of forgetting the name right offhand. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. It's. Mm, 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 mm. Well, I guess you guys will see it when it comes out. So, I think today was. What was today? What did I do today? What got released today? And there's been a couple of people though who have commented about like where they would set it in their worlds and stuff. And I think that's awesome. That's really, I mean, because again, I'm just saying what I would do as far as running these adventures in Hyperborea, but I'm not saying like what anyone else should do. Now, if anybody out there sees my videos and thinks, "Wow, let's I'm going to do it that way. That was some good ideas." Then I guess all I can say is, "Well, cool. I'm glad I could be of some service, right?" But yeah, I'm not trying to call myself necessarily an authority on how you do your game. Um, Even though I do feel like, I mean, without wanting to sound super arrogant, I do feel like when it comes to Lovecraft and stuff like that, I while maybe not an authority, I'm definitely a junior historian. You know, I have read, researched, and studied Lovecraft enough over my lifetime that if I had devoted that time to getting a degree, I would have a doctorate in something. You know, considering what I'm talking about, it would have been a doctorate in English literature, which is lame, but then I could be like our former first lady and be like, "You have to call me doctor." It's like you got doctor in English. You're like, get out of here. No one cares. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, not trying to be disrespectful, but to me, the only people I want to call doctor are like if their name has an MD. If you've got a doctorate in like, I don't know, military history or basket weaving or some shit, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I would still call you doctor just to not be rude like that, but deep down in my heart, down in the cockles of my red, white, and blue American heart, I would be thinking, yeah, this is a fake doctor right here. I mean, come on. A doctor and regurgitating shit you read to a professor in the way he wanted you to? Nah, no. So, got this guy. Heaven knows I've been trying to get miniatures of this guy forever. I finally got one. It cost me $4.99 or something. Because this is one of those miniatures that, for whatever reason, Reaper has for sale, but never seems to have any of. The assumption, at least in my mind, is that based on how much I want them, that other people want them exactly that much too. And therefore, every time they make any of these bastards, everybody runs in to buy them. Now, mine will be painted a blue color, mainly because where I live, we do have blue crabs. I guess I could have painted it like a Dungeness or something, but no, I'm just going to paint it like a blue crab. And yeah, I need a few more of these guys. I mean, to be honest, they might be just a little taller than I need them to be, but I'll make it work. Hyperborea, one of the big races is, of course, I shouldn't say races, species are the crabmen. And they are a technological species. They have space travel. They live underwater, and what's crazy is their spaceships are actually full of water. You know what I mean? So they keep salt water pumping through their spaceships the way we would air, and they are kind of a big part of the lore for some regions of Hyperborea. The crabmen are, especially those of you who have the atlas may notice there's this whole area called the Crab Archipelago. Uh, yeah, that's where they kind of live. And I guess they sometimes get into it with like some of the other more technological species. So crabmen versus Migo and stuff like that, maybe. So I could see the crabmen duking it out with the elder things, mainly because they share a habitat. So that since the elder things live under the ocean and the crabmen live under the ocean, those two could be coming into contact, and chances are it would not be a friendly contact. So you would have whatever technological weapons the crabmen have going up against the various technological weapons that the elder things have. So look at him, he's like, I'm turning blue. Hmm. Yeah, I posted a short on, and it was Discord. There's a little conversation about it, but the short was basically walking in the woods of Europe versus walking in the woods of the United States. And like the guys walking through the forests in Europe, but it's like these three freaking Scandinavian looking guys with their little backpacks and their shorts and their tall socks, and they're walking, and there's like gnomes and fairies, and uh, just everything's good. There's butterflies and everything's great. And then it's like the United States, and you see a guy turn the flashlight on in the woods, and you see like monsters everywhere. Rakes and freaking the weird deer that are multi jointed. It's just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And yes, normally I would be running my game tonight, but some stuff came up and we had to cancel probably for 2 weeks. But unlike you poor DMs that play online, because of the way my game is, if we miss a couple weeks, that's not the end of the game. That's just we missed a couple weeks. You know what I mean? I know when you play online or you play with people that you're not really, really tight with, missing 2 games is like a death sentence to a campaign. But, uh, you know, we're all adults and everything. And one of the young ladies that plays at the table, she's really good at keeping notes. So even if we miss a couple weeks and then like we pick up the game, if I don't know what's going on, and typically I do, but if I don't, she does. So it's easy to pick right back up where we left off. Also, we stay in contact throughout the week. The game group does. So, we are our own tight knit little tribe of gamers. Yeah. That damn song's so catchy, man. Actually, I listened to a couple of their songs, and like almost all their songs are just about chicks reading books, including that one, apparently. And Ben's got a song called If You Date a Reader. Just tells you what it's like dating a nerdy chick that likes reading fantasy books. It's like, well, yeah, I guess. So this blue I'm putting on, Templar blue, it's kind of a blue gray, and it's actually, I mean, other than the primer, this is kind of going to be a base coat for other shades of blue. I might even do the belly of him like kind of a paler blue green. I'll have to look at a couple of pictures of blue crabs when they're being pulled out of the water there. But yeah, we like where I live. If you want to drive about an hour to Algali, and I know some people call it U Galley, but it's actually Algali. Um, you can go underneath the bridge over one of the inlets there and hang a lantern down, and you need about a 12-foot net, like dipping net. And at night, when it gets really dark, shrimp and blue crab will swim up to see the light to check it out, and you can just dip them out and throw them in a bucket. And you know, it's a lot of fun. Plus, you get to eat the crabs, so it's like you have fun, but then you also get a reward when you go home, right? Right. Now, two thin coats. Going back over the big, broad, flat surfaces with the second coat because, we want to make sure we got nice, even coverage, right? And we'll set this bad boy down. Let this paint dry in. So there he is officially. Now, as a joke, I was thinking maybe I'd just paint his ass red. But then I was like, nah, I'll paint him like an actual natural crab color. Oh man, so my desk is actually looking a lot better. That's good. Oh, speaking of, I showed you the old Marauder. This is a new Marauder. Iron Wind Miniatures made. Damn it, I just knocked his leg off. But I'll show it to you. Anyway, grab the leg with my toes. What Ironwind did is made the Marauder a lot more blocky and angular. And then whatever model this Marauder is drops to AC5 for 2 LRM10s. Now, I've never even looked at this has probably got to be like a later generation Marauder, right? But Where in the hell is my brother at? I'll have to start talking like it's the 1920s. Call him and be like, "Hey, brother, where are you? I don't know if you know this or not, but the Adolf guy is a bad egg." I was watching Norm Macdonald, and they're like, people were always talking about going back in time to kill, the Austrian painter. But I'm afraid if I went back in time and he was giving a speech and everything, that I might get like all enraptured by him. Like, that's Norm. But so let's put this down here and let hopefully this leg decide to settle in. I'm in Marauder with two LRM10s instead of, I guess if you drop PPCs to large lasers and then the AC and all the ammo for the LRM10s, and I don't know, do you put like 2 tons of ammo in there or just split a ton? I mean, that's something to think about. I mean, if you split a ton, that's going to give what, like 6 shots each, something like that. So, yeah, it's going to be like, I guess it would be a pretty good thing to have as you're closing in on your opponent to start working them with the lasers and medium lasers, the large and medium lasers. But I don't know. There's a part of me that's just like, I'm not sure about it. I know there is one variant that is an official variant that got rid of the AC5 and put on like 2 SRM6s. And that one's pretty much just a Marauder that's outfitted like a thug, which means it's good. It's good. And I think getting rid of the AC10 is basically enough to put the SRMs and the tonnage on, or the ammo on, without having to actually, negatively affect any of the rest of the tonnage. But I'd have to open up my heavy metal program and double check that. Because, yeah, I got the heavy metal program, because of course I do. There we go. So, yeah, they were just trying to make the Marauder look a lot more modern, I think. Make it look all super angular and, like modern military equipment. I'm not. I mean, sometimes it's kind of cool, but sometimes I kind of like that classic kind of round, look on some of the mechs. I mean, some modernization is a good thing, but it is possible to go too far. And unfortunately, I think they've went too far a couple of times with mechs, trying to modernize them up and everything. So, got that done. I need to get up. Scusi. I forgot to turn my fan on. And yeah, I'm kind of weird about that. I like a lot of airflow. Plus this thing up here, these die rolling things, they have miniatures in them that need to go to be organized. Like there's a lot of terrain bits in this one. Like, I've got so many of these. These are from the Battle of Skull Pass, Warhammer Fantasy. Got tons of them. A couple of actual figures. A weird tree with a skeleton in it. So yeah, this box right here, I think for the most part is going to be where I put a lot of the terrain, like these pillars and stuff. Here, let me put them a little closer. So, I mean, a lot of times when I'm using my grid map, I have used these just to mark out corners and then not put anything else and just tell the players these are where the wall boundaries are. I didn't invent that. That obviously came from Professor Dungeon Master. Actually, came up with that, and I stole it. Oh, see, I didn't even know this was in here. It's like a dread wolf or something. It's got like two heads. I have a whole pack of wolves though, so having a two-headed wolf running with them, that would be cool. I think coffins. I need to paint them up. And I say open, and you obey. All right, my phone just texted. It's probably my brother making an excuse to not show up. Better be enough. Well, no, I'm not saying that. Wait. Ziggy zaggy, ziggy zaggy. Oi, oi, oi. Okay, a closed coffin. You never know, right? You don't need those. A well. It's always good to have wells, right? So that's basically the thing. I've got a lot of terrain pieces on the table that need to be organized so that when I run my game, uh, yeah, this is like a really minor demon, like a dretch or whatever, but in Hyperborea, it's just a weak demon. But yeah, that's my whole situation really is organizing, then messing everything up, then organizing it again, and then messing it all up again. And pretty much I just do that over and over and over. That is pretty much the whole situation here. Okay, tables. Where do I want to put the tables? Right here. Put all the tables where all the. See, I'm separating the tables from like the dungeon dressing and then the traps. And then these are a bunch of Berbers. And I don't think that I need any of the Berbers right now. So they can go right there for a second. And this is a giant. Yeah, it will. So far, everything will. So the whole thought that we had, like, I should look into this and make videos. Well, guess what? You were right. I was right. Whoever thought about was right. The fact of the matter is, it will. Almost all of it will. And not even, most of it is not even difficult. The circle, yeah, that's exactly. It's like about the time I feel like I got everything straightened out, I get going on a project, you know what I mean, and tear everything up. And then, like I said, rinse, repeat over and over. But I'm going to go see my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law. Uh, for those of you that I guess I may not have told, which I thought I told a lot of people, but whatever. My wife and I bought the expansion for Agricola Revised, the Farmer of the Moor expansion, and we played that. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot more different things to worry about, but it added a lot of fun to it. Yeah, rinse, repeat, man. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Kennedy? Kennedy. You know, if assuming your last name is Kennedy, then in theory, based on that, you are related to Brian Baru. What do you think about that? Because Brian Baru was never his name. His name was Brian McKennedy, spelled with a C. But apparently, when the Kennedys eventually migrated to America, they spelled it with a K. And they would go on to become Kennedys. So while I'm not saying you are 100% related to one of the greatest kings of all of the Irish, the man that some people referred to as the Lion of Ireland, um, you could be, I mean, you got the name. Whereas me, my last name, other than a couple of Civil War soldiers, I ain't related to pretty much anyone braggable. I mean, on the one side, I'm related to the Easts and the Youngers, outlaws, obviously. And then on the other side, I'm related to a couple of soldiers and an officer who fought for the Orphan Brigade, a Major Thomas McKee, who fought for the 5th Kentucky. But, some people, they got all the luck, they're like related to. I feel like Rimmer from Red Dwarf. So that is, well, yeah, Rimmer and Red Dwarf, like everyone always has these fantasies of being Alexander, but Rimmer, his thing was in a past life he had been Alexander's like chief eunuch or something. Oh man, if you've never seen Red Dwarf, let me assure you, watch all of it, and you will agree with me that Rimmer is the hero of the whole damn series. I mean, Lister and the cat are funny, but when the chips are on the table and it's do or die, Rimmer is the guy who always saves everyone's life. So, and then of course you've got Ace Rimmer, who's also super cool. And one of the big things, I don't know if they ever figured it out yet, because the show did get worse after one of the writers left. There was the 2 writers, Grant and Naylor, and one of them left. And so the show kind of started getting a little bit more slapsticky and a lot less like intellectually funny, a lot less with the irony and the weirdness. And the one debate though a lot of Red Dwarf fans had forever was which one was the real Rimmer? Was the kind of wheedly, snively guy, was that the actual real Rimmer, or was Ace Rimmer the real Rimmer? But yeah. So someone else was on the Discord saying they were going out and picking up the Hyperborea books. So that's another person that's going to give the game a shot. I think that's pretty awesome. And Double D was saying he might actually be running a game of Hyperborea in the future. And I'll watch that for sure. 1, to support my homie up in PA. And 2, because it's Hyperborea and I want to see how he does the thing. And 3, I've been playing a little bit of an online Hyperborea game, which has been really mostly heavy role play. Like I was on my way up to this village that I think could be Nova Roma, but they call it like Stone Shore or some shit in the town. And I got attacked by well, I didn't get attacked. I heard something moving on the ice towards me, and I ran and hid. And I hid in a crevasse, like I squeezed in there. And whatever the beast was, uh, it was big as a rhinoceros, but it had fangs and it was hairy. And it snuffled around the area for quite a while before it eventually wandered off, which meant I lost a lot of time that I desperately needed, because the way this DM runs Hyperborea, she runs Hyperborea like even Chromarium is a frozen port. You know what I mean? Whereas I ran it not quite so harsh. So I'm heading up the road, you know, towards Stonebrook or whatever, and basically she's running it as if it's all icy and like Ice Age stuff. And I'm starting to wonder, is that the way it's supposed to be? Am I doing it wrong? Also, in her version of Hyperborea, when I went into the Silvery Ill, yeah, live and fight another day. Yeah, when you're a solo level 1 Roman warrior and you hear something that's shaking the ground coming towards you, yeah, you run and hide. I mean, the whole, do you want to stand and fight? I was like, no, I'm going to find the nearest thing to jam myself into, and that's what I did. But luckily, it didn't have tentacles, or I'd been right freaking screwed, right? But in her Hyperborea, the L they were serving at the Silvery Ill Tavern was made out of lichen, because they can't grow grain because it's so cold. So they basically collect the lichen that grows on the rocks and stuff, and they ferment that into the drink. And as soon as it was far enough away that I didn't think it could hear me, I snuck out of that place and hauled ass away from it north. So because I wasted that much time, I had to walk into the night, and I haven't got to the town yet. But, I've already been asked, like, when you get there, like, what you intend to do. And I'm like, I intend to stand back and yell in Latin, hey, are you guys Romans? So the DM knows my plan, my master plan. Hey, you guys, are you Romans? Right? Um, so yeah, I mean, hopefully it works out, right? Hopefully. I mean, will it? I don't know, but here's hoping. And but I made friends with the tavern keeper, Hrothgar, and he told me that if it doesn't work out in that town for whatever reason, I can always come back and like basically do carpentry work for him and whatever else I end up getting into. So in a way, my character, and not to make this like all, but I guess it is all. I have made my first friend, and it's a big burly Norseman who is running a tavern and is named Hrothgar. Except my character calls him Sir all the time, because being a young legionnaire, my character's pretty polite. Also doesn't speak the language very well, so when you don't speak the language, you can always rely on politeness, right? So that has been my go-to move: be very polite. So yeah. And then the hope is at some point I will be introduced to the other players in the game. Right now, we're all just like doing our own shit. And that kind of, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun since, when it's not my turn to do something, I can just do something else on my computer. But right now, we're all basically doing our own individual stuff. We haven't actually formed up yet, but I listen in when other people are taking their time on, and uh, a couple of the dudes at least are heading to Cremorium. So I have a feeling at some point I'm going to end up back there, and we'll end up meeting in Hrothgar's Tavern, and that'll be, kind of how the main part of the campaign starts. Because I feel like this part of the campaign, the whole me getting to know things as my character and the other characters doing their things, I almost feel like it's an extended, how people always talk about a session zero, which I've never actually used. Usually it's like, okay, make characters, now we're playing. This is like that, the make characters, now we're playing, combined with like 3 weeks of session zero, too. It's because, yeah, I don't feel like the game has actually started yet. I feel like all the things that are going on are all just leading up to whatever's going to happen. And I have to say, I kind of dig it. I mean, the guy who got me the signed Gary Gygax books that worked as an editor during second edition, he was that way. I don't know if you guys have ever run into a DM like this, and we're talking old school. I'm talking like he was doing this in the early 90s. Um, Everyone would make characters, and then you had to submit like a background of what you did before there. He was one of those guys. He wanted a background. And then he would play like a session that would just be you and him going over whatever the hell you were going over. And that was just the way he did it. And not really the way I did things, because I was a lot more of the, I guess I never really outgrew the 13-year-old murder hobo, you know, pretty much make your character. Okay, you meet in town or wherever you meet. I mean, come on, there's only a few places people meet. You either meet in church, in the bar, possibly in jail, maybe along the road, like maybe some people are walking down the road and other people are guards for a caravan, and the caravan passes, and you pick up the other players to be more guards for the caravan, or whatever. But I mean, people are always going on about the whole, oh, I hate the whole you meet in a tavern thing. But as the arch traditionalist conservative that I am, it's almost like got to close up the shop. You have a wonderful time, bro, and sleep well. Um, a part of me wants to tell the people who complain about the meeting in a tavern trope, there is a reason that shit has lasted for 50 years, right? I mean, and if they want to get into literature, I mean, think about all the fantasy novels you've ever read, and how many of those fantasy novels started out with like the characters meeting in a tavern or something. Hell, Mr. Underhill and party met Strider in a tavern. So, yeah, I think I guess what I'm saying is, I think that there is a level in some corners of our hobby. Not that I could control it or even would want to, or vice versa, but there are some people in our hobby that want to make the hobby. It's almost like, I guess I'm looking for the word snootier than it really should be. Like, check me out. I'm an artiste. My dungeons are like, everything is this or that, or. And then there's another group of people, in my experience, who are more like, just wanting to have fun and roll dice, you know. And like, I will admit this: when the argument years back on Twitter went by that fun was not the most important thing with D&D, I totally get that. And some people might be like, "Really? You get that?" Yeah, I get that. You know why? Because some games of D&D or any role-playing game are not going to be fun. And the reason they're not going to be fun is because a lot of stressful bullshit happens that's going to have you maybe not super happy with what ends up happening in game, right? But that doesn't mean it was a bad game. It is really the takeaway, you know. Like if you play a game and your character heroically dies, yeah, that wasn't fun. Or maybe you think it is, but then that makes you a weirdo, in my opinion. Losing a character is not fun to me. But it still makes the game important. And I think that's what Jeffro was trying to say. And then a lot of people were just losing their minds about it. Now, I don't know because I haven't spoken to Jeffro in a very, very long time. Don't know if I ever will. But that's what I tend to believe is that that was where he's coming from, you know, the idea that you could have a game that totally sucks, you know, for the player, but is still super important game. You know, imagine like I guess what I'll say while I'm just chatting here. Imagine if you were playing Rob Stark, yeah, and the Red Wedding happened during a session, right? I don't think anyone on the Stark side of things, if they were player characters, would say that was a fun time. You know, I doubt any of the people at the table playing the Starks would be like, well, damn, that was fun. No, I think they would probably all be like, God, that sucked. That was terrible. Like, maybe I want to punch a GM or something a little bit. You know, I think they'd be a little bit pissed off about it. But then in the long run, for the campaign, that would have been an absolutely pivotal moment within the whole campaign. You know, the whole story, the whole whatever you're working with, you know, whatever you're doing. Now, assuming the players got there without being railroaded, but you know, stuff like that can happen. You don't got to railroad a character into being an idiot. And let's be honest. Rob Stark absolutely could have just married the Frey girl and probably will become, you know, the king of Westeros and put an end to all that bullshit. But because he wanted to get with that other chick, he just got everyone killed. So, you know, all you can say is, damn, Rob, you're an idiot. That's kind of if we were all like to sit here and be actually honest with each other, the one thing we could all agree on is that the Game of Thrones series and even the I read the first book is just a collection of people making the absolute worst decisions at the absolute worst times. That's all it is. It's like, okay, I'm in this situation. What could I possibly do that would be the absolute worst thing for me to do right now? And then that's what I'm going to do. And that's kind of, you know, players can be that way too in D&D, you know. Absolutely. If you, especially if you've been playing with the same group for a while, you know who I'm talking about. There's going to be some of those guys that just whatever the like, you know, they're talking to the town guards, and that's when the guy decides to shoot his mouth off about something, you know, or it's like, and a lot of people who were actually watching the story, I remember talking to people on my shift that were watching it, and they're like, well, Rob was in love. And it's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go on a little bit about this. Yeah, I don't care that Rob was in love. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because he gave his word. He gave his word to Frey. And he should have been smart enough to know that the phrase, we're not just going to take that, you know? But apparently he thought he was just the badass and he could F around with Walter Frey and it'd be fine. And he learned, didn't he? He learned. Because no. So pretty much, had Rob told the hooker he ended up getting knocked up to pound sand out of his tent and been a good boy and then married the Frey girl, and the one Frey girl that he was going to marry, it wasn't like she's unattractive. He'd been fine. Plus, then he had control of the twins and Walter Frey's armies. Like I said, you just have a group of people standing around waiting to be as dumb as they can. And sometimes to me, that shit gets old, you know. I'm just like, really? Really? You're going to do this? Really? You know? Like, come on, guys. You should know better by now. You know this shit ain't going to work out, but sure as shit, they're going to try it. Putting some primer on some stuff. See, there's 4 of you out there. I know who you are. You're my bros who probably got other shit that you have to do, but you put me on just so that it looks like, you know, I can have the viewers. And you know what? That's cool of you. I do that too for people, you know. Like sometimes I'll be in here streaming, but if one of my bros are like streaming or doing the live play or something, I'll have it on my other computer, you know. So in that way, I can do what I'm doing, and I can also support my homies in whatever they're doing, and you know that's just a win for everybody, right? Big James, what is up, homie? So yeah, I do that a lot with like Bruce and some of the other guys. It's like if they're streaming and I'm just too busy doing honeydews and stuff, I still put it on though. And I'm like, yeah, I'll still put this on. And then Timmy, I thought Timmy was gaming tonight.
I don't game this late, even if I was gaming tonight.
What do you mean this late?
Maybe.
It's like 9 o'clock, 9:30.
We start at like, well, actually, we probably would still be gaming then. Yeah. I was thinking we start at like 3. Well, now 4.
All right. I game until people are falling asleep. But so yeah, I was just sitting here talking about Hyperborea, the fact that I think my Roman character has a friend now, and how the campaign's going, and the difference is
Fred, and he's a barbarian.
no, his name's Hrothgar, and he's an older gentleman that owns a tavern.
Ah.
But when no one else was willing to hire me, he hired me to build him shelves because I'm a carpenter,
Ah.
and then he fed me and everything in return, and gave me a couple of coppers to keep in my pocket. So when I went on my journey to the north looking for Nova Roma, you know, he gave me a cloak for free because you know he said it's freaking freezing out there, so he gave me an ugly wool cloak that's warm and told me if I didn't find what I was looking for up there, I could always come back and work for him, you know,
Hmm.
like his roof might need repairs or something. And I was like,
Yeah.
I think this guy actually likes me, like, you know, as a friend or something, you know. he's obviously an adventurer of some type too. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Big Viking,
Yep.
and now he owns a tavern, and now he's running into the 20-year-old Roman soldier that's completely new to the whole damn place and doesn't know anything. I think maybe he's just feeling a little bit of empathy or pity or sympathy, whatever it is.
Sympathy.
He's helping me out a little bit. So, and that was one of my character's goals anyway, was to meet friends. So,
Got a
and try to
friend in
figure
me.
out where I am.
You got a friend in me.
Hey, when you are brand new to an entirely different realm of existence, you kind of want to make some friends.
I
Wouldn't you
know.
think?
I was just referencing that Toy Story song.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
It's one of the best songs ever.
Yeah.
By one of the, what's his name? That guy sang a song on every movie ever.
Yeah.
He even sang a song that was supposed to be making fun of people, except the people he was making fun of loved the song.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you can do something like that.
Well, that guy, Newman, I think is his last name,
Oh
and
yeah, Newman. That was
not
it.
Gary.
No. Was it
Um,
Paul Newman or something else?
no, Paul Newman's the actor.
Okay.
Gary Newman is the guy who was the singer for Two Boy Army and all that.
Ah, yeah.
This guy, he just does like music shit for movies, right?
Yeah.
And at one point, being the knows better than everyone else New Yorker, he decided to make a song making fun of the South, except everyone in the South loved it. So now he never actually ever plays the song. But, he was basically sarcastically talking about how like backwards and racist Southerners were. But all the Southerners were like, yeah, we like that song. And yeah, so kind of like the Neil Young thing where he, attacked the South in the song Southern Man. And that, of course, pissed off Van Zant, who was in Leonard Skinner. And that's why you have that line in Sweet Home Alabama where they say, I hope Neil Young will remember that a Southern man don't need him around. Right? Which may or may not, see, since we're going down my weird stream of consciousness here, I apologize. I wonder if that may or may not have been like the first time you had like a beef between musicians and they were actually putting shit, except unlike a lot of the beefs, they kind of insinuate who they're beefing with. But in that beef, he named him by name.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Neil Young, fuck you. Keep your Canadian ass out of the South. We don't care about you. And yeah. But
Nobody wants to be a Canadian idiot.
oh god. Weird Al.
Yeah.
Spend all my time down at Timmy Hortons. Yeah.
Look, he might be right. They're too nice. They're plotting something.
Well, I don't know. I was watching news. Since you want to talk a little bit about Canada, we can. They're pissed off because apparently a lot of politicians are doing what they call walking across the floor, crossing the floor. And that would be like if you ran as a Republican in a district in Florida, but as soon as you went to DC, you become a Democrat. And I guess it's happening a lot. And the Canadians are pissed about it because they're like, I voted for this person to represent me in this party, and now they're joining this other party. And I guess according to their parliamentary system, they shouldn't legally be able to do it, but they're doing it because, And so there's quite a few, patriotic Canadians up there that are like talking about recall votes and this and that, but I don't know if it'll happen. And then, even though we all know it will never happen, so hopefully no Canadian gets their panties in a twist here. Yeah, there were even a couple Canadians that were thinking maybe they'd be better off if we just invade. And it's like, well, we're not invading you guys. You can count on that. I mean,
As much as we joke about it, we're not gonna do it.
yeah, we might joke about it, but it's kind of like me joking about punching my brother in the head. He's my little brother. I joke. I'm not actually going to punch Haas in the head. That's crazy. Come on, you know. But I don't know though. If he came up to me and he was like, "Look, bro, I really need you to punch me in the head," I might think about it, right? If he's like, "The only thing that will save my life is a good kick square in the ass, and you can do it," I might be like, "Okay, all right, we'll have to do this then." But so, yeah, but what basically a bunch of politicians are joining Carney's party, even though they were voted to be right wingers. And one of them, some French woman, or French name anyway, she had a Francophile name. She had just 2 days ago been talking shit about the current Carney government, how much they sucked and shit on social media. And then this morning walked across the floor and joined them. So the people who elected her
Well, there's your
to be,
problem. They elected a woman.
don't get me started. But the people who did elect her had elected her thinking she was going to be a pain in Carney's ass and try to hold him to account, you know? And then she joins him, which means the people who elected her didn't actually get to elect the person they wanted. Because the idea is you elect somebody, they go up there and they represent you, right? But, and this happens in America too. We're not they're not special, but you know, at least down here, I guess they're not so blatant about effing us over, because that's pretty freaking blatant. That's pretty blatant. That would be like
It's blatant as
some
we
guy
got
running on being a far right MAGA Republican type dude, and then as soon as he got to DC, being like, "No, I'm actually going to be a Democrat now," and you know, I can understand how that shit would be like. So you lied to me, got my vote, and immediately stabbed me in the back. At that point, man, I mean, so yes, I feel for my Canadian brothers and sisters up there. This is some bullshit. And like I said, according to the Canadian guy that I was watching explain it, it's not even legal. They're not supposed to legally be able to do this, but they're just doing it. You know, it's like, oh, God, poor guys. But so yeah, that's the exciting thing that's gone on. My wife whipped my ass at Agricola, Farmers on the Moor, and I played a couple hours, like 4, of Hyperborea, this game session, and then painted, hung out with you. I mean, you know, my life's pretty sturdy like that, you know.
Me, my cousin got back into an old MMO, a Pokemon one.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Pokemon MMO.
Yeah, it's this one's Pokemon Revolution Online.
Oh,
it's fun. I've been very lucky in it. Once I got back in, I found 2 shinies, 2 pink Pokemon, and even the new event, I got like 7 of the event Pokemon already.
Huh.
Haven't been playing that long either, so it's like a weird thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever want to like play Pokemon Online, but I do or will admit that I had a blast back in the day playing like Pokemon Blue and White and Gold and all that.
Yeah.
You know, those
This
Yeah.
one starts you off in Kanto, and then we'll send you to Johto and Sinnoh and Hoenn.
Yeah, I had to buy the Pokemon, I think it was gold or yellow, so
Gold or
that I could
yellow?
start the game with Pikachu.
Oh, that's yellow. Gold is the Gen 2 game.
Okay. And then I think Hungar had red.
I had blue.
Yeah, it was
I
like
have.
red was Charizard,
Yep.
and then you could get a Squirtle or Bulbasaur,
Yep.
and then if you had yellow, you could get
I have yellow now. It's
the
like
the, the lightning rat.
I only paid like $2 for it.
Yeah. See, I wasn't even a Pokemon fan per se, but my kids were.
I was. I am still kind
Well,
of.
you're about the same age as one of my kids,
Fair.
or close. I mean, my oldest daughter is in her 30s. So, uh, but anyway, one year for Christmas, I bought my kids the little handheld that the Pokemon games came with.
Game Boy.
Yeah, I bought them all a Game Boy, and I bought them all. Like my youngest daughter likes Bulbasaur,
Hmm.
and the oldest daughter liked Squirtle.
My
So
favorite's
then,
Charizard.
yeah, that's what Hungar got, Charizard, and then I got the yellow, you know, and
You know, in the cartoons, Pikachu got Porygon banned.
really,
Yeah, there was one episode where Porygon was introduced, and because of Pikachu's attack causing epileptic seizures on kids, they banned Porygon.
huh?
Just
I
like,
remember the one. I mean, not that this is new for Japanese anime, but I remember there was the one Pokemon that was helping the nurse,
oh, Chansey? Yeah.
and she's like super black with the big pale lips.
Oh, no, oh, you're talking about Jinx in that one. Okay.
Right. And people
Yeah.
got mad. But then again, you also had Boo in freaking, wasn't it Boo?
No, you're thinking Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo was like black with the red lips.
Mr. Popo was, yeah. Yeah, was Boo was
First,
the like the childlike one that had like the antenna thing on the top
Boo.
of his head.
Well, that was the final Kid Boo. There was also like Fat Boo and Fit Boo.
Yeah, I can't remember because the only time I ever saw that is when one of my roommates was watching it
Yeah.
as I wandered through, and mainly for the same reason I'll never really be into One Piece. You know,
If
it's like
anything,
you sit down and you're like, "Oh, what are you watching, man?" And they tell you, and you're like, "Cool." You know, and they're like, "Yeah, this is like season 15, episode 9,000," and it's like, "Yeah, I'm done."
it's much more watchable if you just watch the original, which for
The
us is
original
the
is the one where
Dragon
he
Ball.
had a toe and he was a kid and he was flying around on
Yeah.
a cloud.
Yeah. I feel like that's the apex of Dragon Ball.
And wasn't he living with like this old man that was like a super perv that was always looking at porn and trying to sleep with underage chicks?
That was well, he didn't live with them. He trained under them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you didn't say no to all of my accusations, though. You're just like, well, he trained with him.
He
And
did.
yes, he was a perv and he was
Yeah.
trying to hook up with all the
Alma.
young chicks that came around.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Japanese culture, man.
Japanese
First,
culture,
back
they find
then,
it funny. Apparently, that's their gag characters, the pervy old man.
because there's one in Naruto too.
Yeah.
And
There's one
Naruto's
in many
always
anime.
calling him the pervy sage or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he rides a giant toad.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do like that there was another anime that actually kind of spoofed Master Roshi.
Oh
Though,
yeah.
yeah, there was just this weird anime where it's about this one girl who gets like isekai into a new world, but she didn't want to be strong, so she's like, "Can you just make my abilities average?" But the problem was when she said that her ability's average, it averaged the entire planet, which means that she's actually still insanely strong for a human.
You know what I watched a little bit of the other day?
What's that?
The one isekai where the goblins invade Japan, and then the Japanese Defense Force goes
Oh,
through the gate.
JSDF thing. Yeah, goblins weren't really in that. It was more like an enemy army with like orcs and
Well, the
stuff.
first guys that come through were like monsters,
Yeah,
but there were humans and elves.
yeah,
And then when the Japanese went back through, they just started wrecking the shit out of everything.
yeah.
Like there's that one thing you see the guys and they kind of almost look like Roman legionnaires, and they're in the middle of a meeting, and all of a sudden this group of Japanese infantrymen ambushes them with machine guns. It's like, oh my god, you got Japanese fighter jets shooting down dragons and shit.
Oh, those fighter jets, they're F4 Phantoms.
Yeah, and they're just cooking these friggin' the dragons are flying. You see these things come in. It's like
Yep.
or Apaches.
Yeah, or
You're
the
like,
Apaches. Yeah, and then you can even see some. I think Chinook helicopters. It's like fun watching
there
that
was
because
whatever the Japanese's main defense force tank is. They had,
I think in that one it would be the Type 90, but I'm not sure.
yeah, they're like lobbing rounds down range from that thing.
Yeah,
Just boom. And all of the fantasy creatures are running in circles, like, oh my god. But
I would say Type 90 because I don't think the Type 10's actually in full production yet. It
well,
might
it
be now,
doesn't
but it
matter.
wasn't
The
at the
point
time.
is, if you are from a fantasy world and a gate opens and you go into another world, you probably don't want to start shit right away.
Oh, no kidding.
You might want to wander in and be like, hey, we'd like to talk to your politicians and stuff. At least get a handle on what you have wandered into before, they start sending Apaches and shit into your own world, and just wrecking your shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that song. My wife was not a fan of that song.
What song?
The get in the kitchen and make me some chicken. I'm hungry. I will smack your lip. I will use my fist. I will bust your shit. Right? My pimp hand is strong and my patience is thin. So thin. You're right. It's like it's like a song about smacking your wife up in 1500 and something because you're hungry. You want chicken. These guys online, some of the stuff they make is just like
I know, it's funny or weird, crazy.
it's the reason it's funny is because of how ridiculous it is.
I know.
That's what makes it funny. It's not the violence against some woman. It's that a lot of times humor is derived from shock. And hearing somebody saying something that kind of technically is very shocking to hear, but doing it in a way like you can't help but have a natural response to laugh because otherwise you'd want to be mad, you know? That's the whole point of laughing, right?
Yeah.
It's like you laugh so that you don't cry, basically.
I don't know. Sometimes it's just about the absurdity of things. Like, yeah, hey James, you know
Like,
that the people in that little town doesn't want you there.
maybe not,
Small power.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Hyperborean town because that's the.
No, I was actually making a joke because of the midget supremacist video.
Oh, yeah, well, no, I mean, you've heard me tell the story of the Dwarven Supremacy League,
Yeah,
Dark Age of Camelot. So, I mean,
I know that.
yeah, I'll do that and just murder the shit out of everyone and make it as uncomfortable for everyone as possible. And then if somebody tries to call you any Yahtzee names, you're like, dude, this is a fantasy game. You're playing a dwarf. What's wrong with you, man? But yeah. Oh man, probably get up tomorrow, do what I need to do, then come home and play some Agricola with the wife.
Yeah, I won't be playing any D&D games until Monday.
That's only a day away.
Now,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be.
I was supposed to have one tomorrow night too, but that got canceled until the next week.
Yeah, ours got canceled today, and then I'm not going to be here next week, so that's not going to happen.
Oof.
But uh, the week after, we'll play. And I was talking about it. Luckily, because of how tight knit my group is and stuff, we can miss a few games and still be strong.
That's good.
Whereas I know a lot of people, if you miss 2 games, it's basically a dead game. It
It's
sucks,
usually
but
like
the way
that.
it is.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm pretty fortunate in that we all game together and know each other and blah blah blah. So that's actually not what happens. Okay, we'll put the pile of wood next to the tents, right? We'll put the treasure chests all next to the dungeon stuff. But oh, what do we got here? Some kind of pedestal slash pentagram. There's some witchcraft going on in here.
Uh oh, James, you're getting into the dark arts, aren't you?
Well, I'm not, but somebody is. And if the players find them, I hope they spank them. Let them know, hey, that shit ain't cool, bro. We don't do that around here. Okay, we got a mushroom. The mushroom can go up here with cave monsters. So I got a bunch of these guys too. They're just dead guys.
Corpses.
Yeah, they're just the corpses of dead people. Paint them all up. Just like drop them in a dungeon. Like when I set up a dungeon, they walk in, just throw a bunch of corpses down. Be like, so this is what you guys see. Let's see how they react to that shit.
Well, it makes sense. I would expect that actually.
Oh, my players run a gamut, man. Half of them are basically too terrified to actually go anywhere or do anything. Yet they always do go.
Yeah.
And the other half are so foolhardy that they'll jump through a freaking
Portal for no reason.
portal to nowhere just because they want to see what's on the other side or something.
Yeah.
And then these 2 factions within the party are constantly bitching at each other.
But if there was a dungeon ran by like a strong, intelligent monster, you would think that they would pile their bodies up in the front as a warning.
Right. And so that's kind of the deal is like,
Or pull off some Vlad the Impaler stuff.
oh yeah. Yeah, I got some impelled people actually, miniatures of impelled people.
See?
I have many of them. So that is a thing. And if I played the one game, the Temple of the Frog God or whatever, this is the type of alien that I would use. This is one of the great race. And their whole deal is, one, they're very intelligent and technological, and two, they have the ability to throw their consciousness through space and possess someone else and make that person inhabit their old body. And that's why they're practically immortal, because every time they're on a world and something's going to happen that would kill them, they just throw their consciousness into another planet's people and let that other planet's people's consciousness go into their old bodies and die. So it's kind of
they're
shitty.
Captain Ginyu.
I don't know what that is.
It was a Dragon Ball guy character.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was like
So
the
that's
leader
kind
of
of
a
what
group.
they do.
He
They
he
they
had an
they
ability to change bodies with others.
yeah, yeah. So they basically hang out on their world, and when their home world was going to get destroyed by something, they threw themselves across space to Earth and inhabited the intelligent species on Earth, which is what I showed you. A
Mhm.
kind of a plant animal thing. And then after the flying polyps invaded Earth and started wiping them out, they threw themselves into the future, or not the future, through time or space, and they inhabited some beetles that were like a giant hive mind type of spider beetle thing. So that way they considered themselves extra safe because in order to actually affect them, you had to kill like thousands of the beetles, because they were like a gestalt consciousness, you know what I mean?
I
But
get the idea.
yep, that was the idea. And they hit the earth far, far, long, long after the elder ones hit. And the elder ones look like starfish with weird tentacles and wings. And the elder ones are the ones that invented the Shoggoth, which are just giant protoplasmic slime that can constantly create eyes and mouths and stuff all over it. And eventually the Shoggoths got pissed and had a revolution against the elder things and almost wiped them completely out. Because it turns out that Shoggoths, over time, they just kept getting smarter. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
eventually they realized they were slaves. And not soon after that, they realized they weren't fans of that idea. So they went on a murder spree. And and by that time, the elder race had gotten they'd lost so much of their science that they no longer remembered how to travel through space. So they actually can't escape Earth now. They just, you know. For more information on that, read At the Mountains of Madness or listen to it on audiobook, and you will understand what become of the elder things, who were also not necessarily mammals. They were some kind of animal, but also kind of plant. And they were not native to Earth at all. They came here about 3.5 billion years ago, and one of their big first travails is when Cthulhu and his people came. They fought a war, and pretty much in the end, they decided to split the Earth. So like Cthulhu got a hemisphere, and they got the other hemisphere, and they kind of left each other alone. And then the Shoggoths took care of them. So I didn't know this, but you mentioned occultism, right?
Yeah.
Well, Clark Ashton Smith apparently, not apparently, this is real, was somewhat of a kind of interested in occultism, specifically the Lima, which is like Aleister Crowley stuff.
Ah, yeah.
And that's probably why he wrote about Hyperborea and stuff, because Hyperborea itself was a Greek story, right? About these supermen that lived at the top of the earth or whatever. But then it got like later, it got adopted by like cultists, who were like, yeah, Hyperborea, they had all this magic and blah, blah, blah. If you can learn the Hyperborean magic, you can do all this stuff, right? And then, like, one of the guys he talked to back in the day was um, the guy who initially posited the idea that Lovecraft was a prophet but didn't know it, that all of the books and stuff he was reading were actually true. but they were like being sent to him in dreams by the things he was writing about. Which, I mean, if Lovecraft had ever been alive to hear that, he'd probably rolled over and laughed himself into a fit because, he wouldn't have believed any of that. But yeah, so that there was a whole thing like that where people were,
Oh yeah.
and and
Seen
that's,
similar ideas or concepts in fiction.
well, I mean, Venger Satanus, that's his whole thing.
Yeah.
As much as I like the guy, he's based his the cultic system that he follows is literally based on the idea that Lovecraft was a prophet and was not even aware of it. And that the great old ones do actually exist and they were contacting him through dreams. But he thought it was just nightmares or whatever. And so there are groups of people who call themselves chaos mages or whatever that supposedly try to use, bits of like what they call the Book of Ibon and the Necronomicon and stuff, which aren't even real.
Nope.
But their argument is, well, if it works, who cares? So apparently, some of these knuckleheads think that they're actually performing magic using Lovecraftian stuff. And even though they know for a fact it's not real, they don't care because they think it works. Isn't that some wild shit?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You get people like that though.
you do, man. That's like, I was watching a show about the other day. They were talking about the Necronomicon, which, again, Lovecraft didn't invent, someone else
Nope.
invented,
Yeah.
but he used it. And then he said it was written by an Arab in Yemen whose name was like Alzrad something, which is supposed to be in Arabic the sound that desert insects make in the night. And he, of course, got ripped to pieces by some invisible monster in the middle of the marketplace in Yemen. So that handled him. But back in like the 80s or 70s, they actually released a Necronomicon book. You can still buy it on Amazon, right? But it's entirely fake. It's a prop,
Yeah.
and the parts of it that even seem like they might be esoteric are just Sumerian and Babylonian weird old that.
Mm.
But then there are idiots out there who actually believe that it works. And to me, it's just like, that is so wild. But so let me ask you something, man.
Go ahead.
Do you know very much about D&D adventures?
As much as I can glean off of what I've watched
Okay.
and played a
Because
little
the
bit.
next adventure I'm going to do, Will It Hyperborea, you know what it is?
What's that? Let me
It's
think.
going to be City of Adventure.
Ah. Yeah, I don't know much about that one.
Well, you should. You played it.
Oh, Full of Radiance, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
I am going to Will It
I didn't know
Hyperborea
it's.
Full of Radiance. I have a spoiler for you.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
It will
I
probably
mean,
be set uh, westerly of Cremorium on the coast, obviously.
yeah.
And the hardest part will be a lot of the humanoids will have to be swapped out for other things.
True.
Because, as I've said, and you know by now from listening to me rant on, there are no goblins, there are no hobgoblins, or bugbears or any of that. There
Fair.
are orcs, though.
Yeah.
And there are more undead than you can shake a stick at. So part of me is kind of thinking maybe the city of Flan, which I might call it something else, I don't know, but maybe everywhere that you have like one hit die monsters instead have an equivalent level of undead. Like,
Yeah,
so instead of goblins or something, some skeletons.
I could see
And
that.
just pretty much run the game as if the whole city is just
Overrun by
overrun
zombies.
with the undead, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, bandits and evil cultists too, obviously, but. And then instead of Anthraxis or whatever in the castle being the thing that's in charge,
Oh,
I'm
Tyrann Praxis, yeah.
thinking, yeah, Terranthraxis. I'm thinking in my version, the vampire in the graveyard is actually in charge.
Fair enough.
You know, and in addition to being a vampire, he's obviously a powerful necromancer. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's basically hanging out in the graveyard. And
I'm getting a Resident Evil vibe on this one, except for the vampire.
right, so you basically got this vampire and some other powerful undead that have all kind of gotten together, and they're hanging out in the graveyard, just summoning the dead. You know,
Yeah, just
like
watch out. You
just
don't want. Oh,
emptying the whole graveyard out, and you know, sending them out. You could even throw in like a death knight or something.
yeah.
You know,
Just watch out, though. You don't want one of your players to become a Jill sandwich.
uh, maybe. What is a Jill sandwich?
It was a joke from the Resident Evil 1. One of the lines was Barry like rescuing Jill, and he's like, "That was too close. You almost became a Jill sandwich."
That's funny.
It was very, very stilted,
The
hilarious dialogue.
only Resident Evil I ever played, Tim, was I think the first one, and the only thing I really remember about is like an undead dog jumping through a window at me,
Ah, the Cerberus, yeah.
and it scared the shit out of me because I was playing in the middle of the night. Because you know I'm playing a scary game, so obviously I'm like, you know, it's like 11:30 at night, and I've got all the lights out, and I'm sitting here playing this fucking game, and the thing comes through the window, and I'm just like, bah, 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 bah. Yeah.
The first one I tried playing was actually Resident Evil 2 on
Mm.
the N64. I couldn't grasp the controls very well, though. Like, tank controls were weird.
One game that I did finish, and it was scary, and I'm proud of myself for beating it, was the original Silent Hill.
Ah, yeah, I've heard good things about that. I never played Silent Hill, really.
The original, let's just say that Silent Hill has just gone backwards with every one they put out. The original one was short and sweet. You are the dad of this little girl who may or may not be your daughter. There's weird shit going on. And you're driving through, I think it's Ohio or Pennsylvania, that place where the mine caught on fire and is still burning. And you get in a car wreck. And when you come conscious, the last thing you see is your daughter running down the road away from you. So, of course, you try to chase her down, and that's
Oof.
how you end up in the town, right? But the thing about the town is, at like, I don't know, random times, you'll hear like almost like a freaking lighthouse siren, you know, that thing. And then the town will slip from our reality into hell. And it'll be full of like just demonic, horrible, twisted things, right? And also, it'll be covered in fog. So you're running around the town trying to find your daughter, not get murdered. Um, and unlike a lot of games, you never have enough ammo for shit. Like that game was stingy with ammo. And then you have Pyramid Head chasing you around, whatever the hell that even is. I'm sure you've seen it though, right? The big muscly guy with the giant sword
Oh,
and the pyramid helmet.
yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
Pyramid Head, yeah.
That's not even the worst. The thing that creeped me out the most is you gotta go to the school to find a clue, and the school is full of little demonic children
Oh yeah, yeah.
running around doing little demonic children type shit. And I'm just like, nah, this is. Then you go to the hospital, and the doctors are running around all demonic and twisted with
The nurses
scalpels.
too.
The nurses, and it's just like, and you go through all this stuff so that you can go into a room and read like some shit written on a wall in crayon or something. And then you're like, oh, now I gotta go to the next place. And it turns out in the end that like a fallen angel was there, and it was kind of either trying to bring hell to earth or bring this part of earth to hell, Samael. And you end up having to duke it out with Samael in a mall or whatever, or no, in the lighthouse. And yeah, so, and then the first movie was pretty good too, except they switched from, instead of being the dad, it was the mom that was, there.
Yeah,
But then as they kept making movies, they kept like trying to add to the lore, but it really wasn't
it wasn't
lore.
good. Now
It
here's
well, it didn't need it.
yeah,
It was like, okay,
it was
whatever.
starting to bloaten the story a little bit.
Right. Because
Yeah,
in the, yeah, in the first story, basically it is what I said. It, pretty much a demonic fallen angel playing, tiddlywinks with reality. And you get caught in the middle of it, and your daughter is important to the thing somehow. And if I remember correctly, I think she's like either not your daughter and was adopted, or is the reincarnation of somebody that was really important at some time to all this bullshit that's going on. And that's kind of how that, like the accident and her running off were not accidents. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They were all things that were made to happen.
Again, I've heard about a lot of the stuff from Silent Hill. I just never played any of them.
Yeah. I mean, the last movie I tried to watch it, my wife and I couldn't even watch it. We're
Oh
just,
God, never watch a video game like a movie video from a video game series. It's never gonna go good.
see, the first Silent Hill wasn't terrible. Like I
I
said,
guess you could
the
say that
main
with
thing they did is
certain things.
instead of having the dad be the protagonist, they had the mom. And I'm like, fine. Somebody probably thought that was a lot more emotional, a mom trying to get her daughter back. I get
Uh,
that. That's
yeah,
cool.
to be fair, the original first Resident Evil movie wasn't terribly bad either.
Um, that was with the same chick, and she wakes up with no memory in Raccoon City or whatever.
Yeah,
She's the bride or whatever they call her.
I, it gets really weird,
And then you
especially once you
have
go through that series of
the
movies.
AI is like the little girl.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't bad. I mean,
No,
it
it
wasn't
got bad.
good, but it wasn't bad. It
No,
was.
it got really bad after a few of those movies.
Well, I watched the one. I don't know. It wasn't a Resident Evil, I don't think. But basically, these guys were going to like Las Vegas to rob a shit ton of money, but Las Vegas was like
Overrun
zombified,
by zombies.
and they had to get in and get out before like the United States government nuked Las Vegas
Yep.
to try and keep. And that was maybe one of the stupidest movies I'd ever seen. It was just like, again, it was a movie where every character made the worst decision possible at all times.
Yeah, that happens a lot in some movies.
It does. It's like, they even make fun of it in like that one car commercial where the people are running from like the freaking slasher, and they hide. Hey, there's a car. No, let's hide in the shed. And they go in the shed, and it's like full of rusted hooks and shit. And it's just like, why? Because it's a joke. The people always do the stupidest shit, and then you get the last girl trope. So the
Yeah,
last one to survive will somehow manage to maybe defeat the monster, but not really.
I know. It's kind of like when you watch Scream and you're just like, that wouldn't even be a threat where I'm from. We just shoot them.
Right? That had to take place in California.
Yeah, that had to take place in
Because
California
the
because
scream happened in Florida. As soon as the phone rang and somebody's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I would be like, "I'm hanging out. What are you doing?" You know.
oh, is this a Scream? Oh, I was always mentioning this.
I'm inside your house. You better not be, because
oh, that's not good for you.
yeah,
You know what? We need to make this fair. You want one of my guns?
yeah, I might even be like, "Look, if you look in my closet, there's some guns in there. If you ain't got one, you better get one." Just getting ready to be like that, right? There's a guy on like he makes shorts, and one of the
yeah, I
shorts he
know.
makes is like if horror movies were shot in the South.
I saw the other one. There was another guy who does another type of shorts like that, and it was just about if Scream was done in Florida.
Oh God,
He's just like, yes,
yeah,
yeah. He does
yeah.
a lot of things. He does
The
also
one
the
I saw,
Warhammer
you had like
or
two good
Warhammer
old
stuff.
boys. They could have. They looked to me not like nothing more than maybe some guys from Georgia somewhere,
Yeah.
and they're like out in the woods, and you hear that freaking Friday the 13th bullshit. That
oh,
and they
you're
both
talking
just
about
look at
yeah,
each other, and you see them pull up their shotgun, and like,
yeah.
let's go see what's out there, right? And it's like the next thing you know, you see like the slasher dude in the hockey mask like running through the woods because these guys are after him, you know. And it's like, but yeah, some dude in a ghost face thing comes running through my house.
It's
It's
not
not
gonna
gonna
go
work.
well.
It ain't gonna go well for him for sure. I mean, I may piss myself, but he'll be dead. I'm not saying I won't be afraid, but you know, double lock buck don't give a shit. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And
The Remington 870 don't care.
that's right. Like that joke that it's a dad joke, but the cop pulls the old lady over. You've heard that joke, right?
No, I don't think
And
so.
well, the state trooper asks the old lady if she's got any weapons, and she says yes. And then
Ah.
she proceeds to pull out like a 38 from her purse and like a pistol from her whatever. And she's pulling all these firearms out. And then she tells the cop she's got like an AR and a shotgun in the trunk. And of course, she's legal to have all these things, right?
Yep.
But the sheriff is all like, "Lady, why are you carrying all these guns? What are you afraid of?" The old lady says, "Nothing."
Nothing. She's got the guns.
Yeah, she ain't afraid of nothing. Because, you know, it's like she's got whatever she needs for any particular situation she might wander into. So she ain't afraid of nothing. But yeah, I probably go to bed here in about 12 minutes. I'm just
Yeah.
priming up some shit for tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
James. Back
yeah,
to the survival horror games. I'm really surprised that they were actually able to fit Resident Evil 2 on one cartridge.
you know, I'm gonna tell you a thing here, Timmy.
What's that?
Game designers back in the day were at least 100 times smarter than game designers are today.
I know, but the original game was like on 2 discs, and that's with like proper compression.
Right.
But they took that like 1.4 gig game and put it into a 64 megabyte cartridge and added stuff to it.
Mm-hmm. And I stand by what I said. Think about this. Think about the miracle that is The Legend of Zelda. That game might not have great graphics, but for the time they were.
They were good.
And it had a whole freaking giant world with all kinds of monsters and shit tons of dungeons, and it saved your place.
Yep.
No other
Also,
game ever had done that before.
also had some crazy mechanics. Like, the little skeletons outside that you could fight?
Yeah.
If you killed so many of them, they would actually grow bigger and bigger.
Well, not only that, but like you could get like you remember you had the one creatures that you could only kill with bombs, and then you had the one
Yep.
like armored guys that you couldn't hurt from the front because they had big shields. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they were just like that game had so much content and
It
so much
revolutionized.
mechanics,
It revolutionized gaming.
and it had like good music too. The
Yep.
dun 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 dun, dun and you know, not any more hidden, but at the time that game released, there was shit tons of hidden places all over.
Yep.
Like you could throw a bomb at a cliff and maybe find a cave, and there'd be an old dude in there wanting to sell you some shit.
Now, same with like hidden areas underground where you just put a bomb in certain areas and it open up a hole.
Yeah. So you would think games would have gotten better or at least stayed
No,
the same as that, but they get worse.
I
Uh,
think it's graphics fidelity that caused it.
I do think there was that period, like in the '90s, early 2000s, where all the designers cared about were the graphics. So we ended up with a lot of really pretty games that were just not fun to play, and that's a shame. Like one of my favorite games from the late '90s or 2000s is Conker's Bad Fur Day,
Yeah,
and that game did not have great graphics,
no, I didn't.
but the freaking game mechanics were amazing, and
But
it was
that's what I'm
just
saying.
fun to play.
With nowadays, it's all about pushing graphics to its extremes, trying to make everything look realistic. I'd rather have a bit more style to it.
Well, that's why freaking WoW killed every other MMO.
Yeah,
It's not that WoW is a better game because it's not. Mechanically, it's nowhere near as good as DOC or many other games. But they managed to find a way to make this giant two continent world, load it full of shit that you can do, and then make it run on a TI-84, graphing computer.
yeah.
Brilliant. Their main competitor at that time was that came out was EQ2. When EQ2 released, there wasn't a graphics card in existence that could run that game at its highest settings. And the EQ2 people were like, "Yeah, we're making this game where that like we'll never have to update the graphics because it's so far ahead of." It was a shitty game, is what it was. And you had to literally, my wife and I, who really wanted to play EQ2, we pretty much had to go out and buy new computers to play the game. And then we ended up quitting after like 6 months because we're just like, this game sucks. Then we tried to play WoW, but I was like, no, this game is terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like WoW
So
either.
then we didn't play anything until Arcade came out. Played the shit
Yeah.
out of Arcade.
Oh yeah. I was a little bit of a latecomer to that one. My cousin started way before me, but he got me into it, and I played it for quite a bit.
Yeah, we started playing it from the time it came out. I bought so that we could have the early release or early access, and we played that game for a couple of years at least. And the main reason that we liked that game was Arcade, for all of its flaws, did a lot of the things that DOC got right. So I liked that. And then the
There was a
fact
lot
that
of things I
Arcade
liked about
added
it.
ships and stuff like that.
Oh god, the ships were fun.
Yeah, that was just amazing. And then the housing, if you could get it, luckily I did.
I
And
did
then
too.
you know what? Another thing I really appreciate about Arcade was
What's that?
you could take pick files from your hard drive
Oh yeah, that the crest system. Yeah, I love that
and
too.
put them in Arcade. Yeah,
Yeah, like those little those little things that you could put on your ships to carry packages for you.
yeah.
I had the crest to make them look like question mark blocks from Mario.
Yeah, I had the icon of Jesus Christ Pantocrator on the cell of my ship.
Nice.
And in my house, it wasn't done like a house. I decorated it like a cathedral or a church. And one wall
Nice.
was nothing but icons. And it was funny because I would log on and run into my house and find people in there staring at the icons and shit. I'd just be like, hello. And they'd be like, hello, and run off, you know? So, like, my house was kind of like a
A
land,
tourist attraction.
you know? Yeah, or tourist attractions. Like, hey, you know where the Orthodox church is up on the hill down there? And I mean, there was so much good stuff about that game. And the fact that it was so easy to change your role as far as what you want to be,
Yeah.
that was really cool. Because one thing about Dark Age of Camelot is as you leveled, you spent points in the skills, right?
Yep.
And there was no takesy backsy for like
In
the first
arcades, you can take back. It's like you can switch
one. Right.
everything.
And that was good, you know. You could
Yep.
be like, okay, today I think I'll play. I ended up being a blackguard, which is, you know,
Ah, yeah.
that
Those were
the
pretty
heavy
popular.
armor sword and board stealther guys.
I mean the Templar.
Yeah, uh, those guys were hard for me to fight, Templars,
Yeah.
because they could outhill me, and
Yes.
eventually, even though they couldn't kill me really, I couldn't kill them, and
Yeah,
eventually
that
I
happens
just
a
have
lot.
to run away and try and stealth. And
Yeah.
if I couldn't get my stealth off and get away from them, then they could run me down and kill me, which I didn't like. I wasn't a fan of that. They were like the only class that, you know,
Gave
I,
you a
I
real,
would I
real
would
hard
think
time.
about before I attacked, because it's like if I
Yep.
get all of my attacks off because of how good my gear and stuff is, if he's not really good geared up, right, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
But if this guy is geared up at all, I'll knock him down to a tenth of his life, and he will heal back,
Yep.
and then we'll fight for the next 20 minutes, and he will eventually kill me
Yeah,
because
that's
I'll
one
just
thing
run out of endurance.
about arena. When it forced me to do the, PvP arenas one on ones, I'm just like, well, I'll go in there, fight a little bit, and see if I can even kill the enemy. If not, it's just going to be a boring, long stalemate. Some people would even just quit in the middle of the fight and just be like, you know what? We're not even going to be able to kill each other. Just sit down and start talking.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like there's a point. It's just like I know.
well, I mean, imagine how I feel when I've spent all my time to cruise across the ocean to stealth for like 30 minutes through the woods to get to my spot, see a guy standing there in armor, smack him, and then he just won't die. And I'm just like, why won't you die? And then, you
Because he's
know,
simpler.
I end up having to run away because he says something in a language I don't understand.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, and I end up having to run away. And if I don't get away, I die because, you know, a Templar, they'll just wear you out. And the thing is, it's not just your health, but you got your end bar or stamina or whatever. And if you run out of that, you can't hardly do any decent attacks.
Fruit.
And you're just going to stand there and get waylaid by this guy.
Now
So,
the other class I really liked to play was a soothsayer too.
never played Soothsayer.
Yeah.
I went full Necro a couple times.
Ah. My cousin he played Dark Runner mainly.
Yeah, I went Necro and I went the Fighter Necro hybrid that you use like for your main weapon, you use not maces, like damn it. It's like the thing clerics use.
Uh, well, I don't know staffs. Usually
No,
the
no,
maces.
it's like the one-handed staff. What was it called?
Scepter.
Yeah, this class used the scepter, but
Ah.
also a shield and heavy armor, and did like a lot of necro magic.
Hmm.
And it sounded like it would be super cool, but yeah, it really wasn't.
I can't remember what Rawl was, but he was our big tank. He was the main tank in our group. We called him basically the boss of our group because he had like boss level HP on everything.
Well,
and
if he
his
was a
build,
fighter and had just went full in with all the defensive whatever and everything, yeah, he could do
yeah.
that.
Like he did, I think, have like HP comparable to some world bosses in that game.
Right. I mean, my blackguard, I went hardcore into like the fighter parts of the blackguard. So my stealth was just basically the secondary thing.
Yeah,
And the only point of stealth was so I could creep up on somebody and then bust them upside the head. And I relied on my warrior abilities to actually kill stuff. I wasn't like backstabbing or any of that. I was just creeping around and then dropping out stealth and fighting people. And
my main killing potential was actually Holy Bolt from the
oh
clerics
yeah,
stuff.
oh I know about Holy Bolt. Like I said,
It's like Holy Bolt, Holy Bolt, Holy Bolt. Nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna heal off of you hurting you.
I think my wife was playing some kind of druid type character. Like yeah, I think so. Because
How
we
many?
played together, which was cool. You know, the fact that my wife and I played the game, and she's a good gamer. You know,
Yeah,
so we were immediately running packs and doing shit early on because I was playing a tank and she was playing a healer. So it, you know how like when you join a game, if you don't know anyone, it can kind of suck.
oh, it can, yeah.
Yeah, because you're just trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. But every MMO I've played since DAOC, my wife has played with me. So it's always been a matter of we sit down and discuss who's going to do what,
Yeah. For
and
me, it
then
was
we
I was
do it.
lucky. We had like my cousin was like in a guild that was pretty small and pretty tight knit group.
Mm,
So we had a good time running with them for a bit.
yeah, I had a buddy I used to hang out with. This Joker. Every time we would play a game, right? We would, me and my wife would start playing a game. He would decide to join us in the game, join the guild that I was running, and then after a couple of weeks, leave the guild, start a new guild, and then I shit you not, occasionally would try to get me to join his guild. And I was like, are you fucking nuts? We've been playing this game way longer than you have, and we have a guild. Like, what are you even doing?
Yeah,
And then he would end up quitting the game out of frustration when he couldn't get shit done because pretty much he just wouldn't have anybody in his guild. Or if he did have people in his guild, it would be other people's alts and shit like that. So, but I shit you not, he did that in like 3 different games.
you think he'd learn after the first time?
Nope. He did that shit in DOC when in DOC, talking about glory days and shit. I was running the most powerful guild on our server. And he joined the guild, leveled up, and then formed his own guild that had like 3 guys in it. I'm pretty sure 2 of the 3 guys were alts. Meanwhile, I had like close to 200 people in my guild, and we were running every in-game everything and constantly kicking the shit out of the Albion players. And it's just, and I'd be like, he'd be like, "Hey, can I get in a group to do this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, you can if we have room." He'd be like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'd be like, "Well, I mean, we're going on a raid. We got 4 groups of 8, right? That's that's what 42 players, and you know,
Guildies get first pick, you know?
and the guildies get the first go of it, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, even if we've got room, you can join, but I mean, if any really good treasure drops, you're not getting it. I mean, you know what I mean? And I know
You're outvoted.
that seems maybe like dick mode, but it's like,
No.
oh yeah, you'll get the random item generator bullshit. The reds and blues and whatever that just automatically drop. But like the named items that boss mobs might drop,
Sorry.
you're never getting that.
Yeah.
Especially because you are 180 something people behind in the line. Hey, the cyborg, you should be
Hey.
asleep, homie. And
Yeah.
you're your stepdad. I sent him a link and he didn't even say nothing. But but that was kind of the way it was. And then, he understood though. He wasn't like a total ass about it, but it's like,
Yeah, but you gotta know that you just kind of screwed yourself whenever you left the guild and tried to make your own.
well, there was a ring that dropped in a raid zone off of a raid boss. Actually, no, there was also a cloak, the Cetus cloak, right? You had to kill Cetus to get the cloak, and Cetus was a raid mob. We're talking 40 plus.
Yeah.
And this cloak was usable by every class because all it did was give you a shit ton of resistance to damages, like all of them, electricity, cold, fire, whatever, right?
That seems broken.
No, it wasn't, but it gave you a bunch of resist. So, okay, yeah, it kind of was. If you had the Cetus cloak and you had the health ring, and your opponent didn't, then your resists were going to be maybe 16% better than theirs. So, could that matter in the long run? Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? And the Cetus cloak, you could run that quest once an hour because he respawned every hour, right?
Mm.
Because everyone on the server wanted that freaking cloak. There was no one that did. I mean, whether you were playing a rogue, a mage type, a fighter like I was, I mean,
Everybody wanted it.
resisting enemy damage is always
Yeah, that's
a
always
great
good.
idea, right? I mean, can't cast spells if you're dead.
Nope.
So, and it's like, so you got these guys in the tiny guilds, and they're like, hey, and it's like, hey, yeah, I mean, you can go, and if some good, rock drops happen, which did happen, like anything that wasn't that item would be up for bid, right?
Yeah.
But every time we ran a raid, like to kill Cetus, we already knew who was getting that cloak if it dropped. And we would tell everyone, like, and it was always someone in the guild. Like, if some new artifact came out that I needed, I got it first. No question. We would go on the raid, me and my boy Skid, and we would tell everyone there, Conquer is getting this thing. And if you don't agree, you can go on. And every now and then you would have people who would go on. But you know what? When you got a guild with almost 200 people in it, it's like, okay, we need 40 people. We have 200. So, literally there were people begging to be in the raid. So, and the other thing I should say, so that doesn't make me look like a total jerk off, is that the ROG items that dropped on these raids were really good. Some of them were freaking good. So
Yeah.
even if you were a noob or not in the guild, you got a fair shot
To get
at
something
getting
at
some of
least.
that ROG drop stuff, which was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. I mean, we'll still get something at least.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty much everyone who wasn't in the guild that went on raids with us loved it because we would we'd go on a raid and kill like all the monsters in Trials of Atlantis, all of the raid bosses. It'd take like 6 hours to do, but by the end of it, we might have 200 random drops. And these random drops, some of them were just absolutely amazing shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it would sometimes take an hour just to auction stuff. And then, of course, each of the bosses dropped some artifact that someone was already waiting for. So if we killed Cetus, we knew who got the cloak. When we killed the Manticore or the Phoenix, we knew who got that. When we killed the Battler, we knew who got that. When we killed Malice, we knew who got that. And so it was always better to go on a raid than not go on a raid. But yeah, and it's just the way everyone did their raids, you know. And you see that in like in WoW, except in WoW, they have this like point system, whereas in DOC, it went by how long have you been in the guild. So if you were one of the early members of the guild, then because I could look at the guild list and see when people had joined and set it to that, then that's how I would adjust for priority. You know, if a guy's been in a guild for a year and never caused any problems and always went on raids, and it's his turn to get the thing, he's getting the thing. You know, he's paid his dues, right? But
Yep.
in WoW they were using what are they called, DCPs or some shit like that, DPRs, or it's basically every time you went on a raid you earned an amount of points, and then if you did really good on the raid you earned an amount of points, and eventually when you got enough points you could get an item, which is a little weird. But I'm gonna go ahead and take off, guys.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit late.
It
I'll
is.
see ya.
I'll catch you later, Timmy. I appreciate you listening to my stream of consciousness.
Oh, no problem. I'll see ya.
See you.